times. How will you be able to carry water pot and external garments? So this is Lord Nityananda inquiring from Lord Chaitanya. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. From this verse it is clear that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting the holy names a fixed number of times daily. The Goswamis used to follow in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Haridas Thakur also followed this principle. Concerning the Goswamis, Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Sanatana Goswami, Srila Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Srila Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, Srimad confirms Sankhya Purvaka Nama Gana Natavi, Sadhusvamastika 6. In addition to other duties, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduced the system of chanting the holy name of the Lord a fixed number of times daily, as confirmed in this verse. Toma Duihasta Bada Nama Ganane. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to count on his fingers. While one hand was engaged in chanting, the other hand kept the number of rounds. This is corroborated in Chaitanya Chandamrita and also in Srila Rupa Goswami's Stalamala. There's these two quotes from the Chandamrita, Chaitanya Chandamrita 16, Bana Prema Bara Prakampita Karo Grata Kati Dorakai Sankirtan Nijaloka Mangala Hare Krishneti Nam Nam Japan. And this quote from Pratama Chaitanyastika 5, which is apparently Pratama means first. So Rupa Goswami had 3 prayers called Chaitanyastika, which are 8 prayers glorifying Lord Chaitanya. This is number 5 from the first set of these 8 prayers. Hare Krishna Tyukchai Spurti Rasno Nama Ganana Krita Granti Shreni Sabad Kati Shutoja Kara. Therefore, devotees in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu must chant at least 16 rounds daily, and this is the number prescribed by the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Haridas Thakur daily chanted 300,000 names. 16 rounds is about 28,000 names. There is no need to imitate Haridas Thakur or the other Goswamis, but chanting holy name a fixed number of times daily is essential for every devotee. Om Jnana Tamrandasya Nashma Chakshun Tamena Tasmai Shri Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Sthakaram Andeham Shigaro Shri Hadakam Shri Run Vaishram Cham Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sagana Vaganatam Sarvaitam Savadutam Prijana Svayatam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Balam Sagana Vaganatam Shri Radha Cham Hey Krishna Kuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagapate Rupesh Gopika Kanta Radha Katanoshite Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamani Panchakal Paturubhi Shah Kripa Sindhu Vecha Titanam Bhavani Vaishnadevi Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Radha Shri Satya Gaura Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare. Verse again, since your 2 hands will be always engaged in chanting and counting the holy names, how will you be able to carry the water pot and external garments? So, in these verses, there are different topics talked about the Lord and his relationship with his devotees. But Srila Prabhupada took the opportunity to focus on this one essential point in this purport, that it's essential to chant the holy name a fixed number of times daily. So, So Lord Chaitanya, he chanted a fixed number of times daily. Of course, Lord Chaitanya was Krishna himself, but he came in the role of a bhakta, not only the role of a bhakta, but as actually an aspiring devotee. He was said in his prayers we just chanted, Nam Namakari Bhavadani Shakti. He's glorifying the holy name, but he says, because I'm offensive, I can't even chant properly. So he's presenting himself as somebody who's struggling to chant Hare Krishna, although he in fact is Radha and Krishna themselves. He's actually the person that the mantra is talking about. The mantra is talking about Hara, Mother Hara, and her father Krishna. Lord Chaitanya is both of these, but he's playing the role of a devotee struggling to practice sadhana bhakti. And Prabhupada says that the 5 members of the Panchatattva, they're all liberated. And if we simply can understand that these 5 people, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, Lord Chandra, Gadadhar and Srivas Thakur, if we understand that they're liberated, just by that understanding we can become liberated. And so they're all liberated, and certainly the Goswamis were liberated souls. So why are they chanting a fixed number of times, like the sadhana bhakta? Because they wanted to show the necessity of it for the neophyte devotee, for one who's in the stage of vaidhi, practicing sadhana bhakti. One should chant a fixed number of rounds. Because the chanting is purifying, and as neophyte devotees, sometimes we feel like chanting, and sometimes we don't feel like chanting. Imagine, suppose you were a student, and sometimes you feel like studying, and sometimes you don't feel like studying. But if you only study when you feel like studying, you might not actually pass your exams. And you may be a worker in the workplace, and you may feel like working, or you may not feel like working. But if you just went to work when you felt like working, you might end up losing your job, because you may not feel like working very much. So, in the same way, we may feel like chanting Hare Krishna or not feel like chanting Hare Krishna, but we regularly chant Hare Krishna every day, just like the students go to their classes every day and the workers go to their jobs every day. Because we want to progress every day, step by step, closer to Krishna. And so one of my favorite teachings of Srila Prabhupada is that there's no difference between the holy name of Krishna and Krishna himself. Actually, there's one very excellent purport in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita where Srila Prabhupada says that if one simply accepts that there's no difference between Krishna and Krishna's name, then he is a pure devotee, even though in the neophyte stage, which is a curious term. But the idea is that faith, that there's no difference between Krishna and Krishna's name, is very powerful. And you continue to say that if anybody hears such a person chanting with that faith, that person will become purified. So when we go out on Harinam, if we just think about that there's no difference between this name that I'm chanting and Krishna himself, and that these people are getting the darshan of Krishna simply by hearing the holy name, that our chanting will be very pure, and everyone who hears our chanting will become purified. Even though we may have a few material desires still rattling around in our brains, still we will be able to purify people because of that faith